the fall of 1984, a letter arrived at news agencies across Japan, addressed to moms of the nation. It read, "In autumn, when appetites are strong, sweets are delicious. Well, we've added some special flavor. The flavor of cyanide is a little bitter." The anonymous writer claimed to have placed 20 boxes of cyanide-laced candy on store shelves from Tokyo to Western Japan, and they signed it with a mysterious name no one had heard before. The monster with 21 faces. Who was the monster? Why target candy? And why was this case never solved? Over the next 17 months, this mysterious criminal or group would kidnap a company president, taunt police with mocking letters, and bring Japan's entire food industry to its knees, all without ever being caught. Today, we investigate one of Japan's most baffling true crime mysteries. A case that would end with a police superintendent's tragic suicide and a final message that still sends chills down spines decades later. Welcome to Tales from the Ether. If you're new here, we sometimes dive deep into history's greatest unsolved mysteries. And today's story might just be one of the most bizarre criminal cases we covered. Between 1984 and 1985, Japan, a country known for its low crime rates and social order, was terrorized by an invisible enemy. This criminal mastermind didn't just want money. They wanted to prove that no company, no police force, and no family was safe. The name they chose, the monster with 21 faces, was a direct reference to a fictional villain from Japanese mystery writer Edogawa Rampo. In the stories, this character was a brilliant master of disguise who could assume any identity. And just like his fictional counterpart, the real-life monster would prove equally elusive. But here's what makes this case truly strange. Despite kidnapping a corporate president and planting actual poisoned candy on store shelves, the monster never collected a single yen in ransom. No one was ever poisoned, and after 17 months of terror, they simply vanished. So what was this really about? Was it an elaborate extortion scheme, a personal vendetta, or something even more sinister? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why this case continues to haunt Japan decades later, and why the truth might be even stranger than the fiction that inspired it. It began just after 9 p.m. on March 18, 1984, in the quiet city of Nishinomiya. Two masked men, armed with what would later be assumed to be toy guns, approached the home of 70-year-old Yoshi Izaki. Their target wasn't Yoshi herself, but her son, Katsuhisa Izaki, the president of the Izaki Glico company, makers of popular treats like Pocky. The criminals knew Katsuhisa's home had a security system, but his mother's home, next door, did not. The men broke into Yoshi's home, tied her up with a cut telephone line, and found the key to her son's house. Minutes later, they entered Katsuhisa's home. Inside, they encountered Katsuhisa's wife, Mikieko, and his 7-year-old daughter, Mariko. When Mikieko offered them money, one of the intruders responded, "Be quiet. Money is irrelevant." This strange statement would be the first clue that this was no ordinary kidnapping. The men then located Katsuhisa himself, naked and just finishing his bath. They dragged him from his home, threw him into a waiting grey car, and sped off into the night. The next day, the kidnappers made their demands, 1 billion yen. But then, something unexpected happened. 3 days after his abduction, Katsuhisa Izaki managed to escape his captors. Now at this point, you might be thinking this was a failed kidnapping attempt, but the truth is, the escape of Katsuhisa Izaki was just the beginning. Because whatever the monster with 21 faces really wanted, it wasn't just ransom money. And their next moves would prove just how sophisticated and ruthless they truly were. On April 8, 1984, the police received their first communication from the kidnappers. It began with a taunt. "To Japanese police fools, are you stupid? There's so many of you, what on earth are you doing?" The letter offered what seemed like clues. The car used was grey, the food was bought at a Daiei supermarket, but ended with a threat. "Shall I kidnap the head director of the prefectural police?" This was the first time the sign-off, "The monster with 21 faces," appeared. The letters kept coming, each more mocking than the last. One read, "Dear dumb police officers, don't tell a lie. All crimes begin with a lie, as we say in Japan. Don't you know that? But the threats were about to escalate dramatically. In May 1984, the monster sent a letter claiming they had laced Glico candies with potassium cyanide soda. Panic erupted across Japan. Stores pulled all Glico products from their shelves. The company lost over $20 million in sales and had to lay off 450 part-time workers. By the end of the ordeal, Glico reported a total decrease in sales of nearly $130 million. Then came a potential break in the case. A security camera captured a man wearing a Yomiuri Giants baseball cap, placing Glico chocolate on a store shelf. This videotaped man became the first visual evidence of a potential suspect. But just as the investigation intensified, the monster did something completely unexpected. On June 26, 1984, they issued a message proclaiming their forgiveness of Glico. So why forgive Glico? The monster claimed in their letter that there was a 4-year-old in their group who cried for Glico candy every day. But was this the real reason? Or was something else going on behind the scenes? Because as we're about to see, the monster hadn't disappeared. They'd simply found new targets. And their next move would prove they weren't just bluffing about the poison. With Glico out of the picture, the monster turned its attention to other food companies: Morinaga, Marudai Ham, and House Food Corporation. In October 1984, a letter addressed to Moms of the Nation was sent to Osaka news agencies, warning that 20 packages of Morinaga candy had been laced with deadly sodium cyanide. Police scrambled to search stores across Japan. They found over a dozen lethal packages of Morinaga choco balls and angel pie, each with a chilling label. Danger, contains toxins. You'll die if you eat this. The mystery man with 21 faces. Miraculously, thanks to the warnings, no one was poisoned. But the message was clear: the monster was capable of following through on their threats. The extortion attempts continued. On November 1st, 1984, Morinaga's vice president received a letter demanding 200 million yen, with instructions to respond through a coded missing persons ad in the Mainichi newspaper. The company complied, placing an ad that read, "Dear Jiro, bad friend disappeared. Come back. Warm meal is waiting. Mother Chiyoko." Now, this is where the investigation finally got its biggest break, because police were about to come face to face with their prime suspect. A man who would become known only as the Fox-Eyed Man. But what happened during this encounter would ultimately lead to tragedy, and raise even more questions about who the monster with 21 faces really was. On June 28, 1984, police thought they had their chance to catch the monster. Marudai Ham had agreed to pay a 50 million yen ransom, and an investigator disguised as a Marudai employee boarded a Kyoto-bound train with the money. The instructions were specific: watch for a white flag along the tracks, then throw the money bag out the window. But as the undercover officer rode the train, he noticed something strange. He was described as large and well-built, about 175-178 cm tall, with short permed hair, wearing a grey suit and clear glasses with silver rims. But his most distinctive feature was his silent, hunting gaze, with eyes like those of a fox. For 20 minutes to Kyoto Station, the fox-eyed man watched the officer through the glass door between train cars. When the officer disembarked, the mysterious man followed him through the station, circling him at a distance of about 3 meters like a shark on the hunt, according to one investigator. Despite having multiple opportunities, police supervisors refused to allow officers to apprehend the suspect, insisting they wait until the money changed hands. The fox-eyed man eventually slipped away. Months later, during another ransom drop attempt with House Foods, police spotted the fox-eyed man again near Otsu. This time they pursued him, but he escaped in a stolen station wagon equipped with a police radio scanner, explaining how he'd been able to evade capture so effectively. So who was this fox-eyed man? Police eventually focused on Manabu Miyazaki, the son of a Yakuza boss who had been involved in a labor dispute with Glico years earlier. But after checking his alibis, they were forced to clear him. The near misses with the fox-eyed man would have devastating consequences, because the pressure on police was building to unbearable levels. and one officer was about to pay the ultimate price. As the investigation stretched into 1985 with no arrests, the pressure weighed heavily on the police. No one felt this more than Superintendent Shoji Yamamoto of the Shiga Prefecture Police. Yamamoto had been embarrassed when officers under his command encountered a car carrying one of the suspects, but let him slip away. He had publicly apologized for the failure. On August 7, 1985, after being relieved of his post and reassigned, Yamamoto did something unthinkable. He doused himself with kerosene and set himself on fire in the backyard of his official residence. The suicide shocked the nation, but what came next was even more shocking. 5 days after Yamamoto's death, the monster with 21 faces sent their final message to the media. It read, "Yamamoto of Shiga Prefecture Police died. How stupid of him. We've got no friends or secret hiding place in Shiga. No career Yamamoto died like a man. So we decided to give our condolence. We decided to forget about torturing food-making companies." The letter concluded with a chilling sign-off. "We are bad guys. That means we've got more to do other than bullying companies. It's fun to lead a bad man's life. Monster with 21 faces." And then, silence. The monster with 21 faces was never heard from again. The statute of limitations for the kidnapping expired in 1995. The deadline for the attempted poisonings ran out in 2000. At one point, over 1 million police officers had worked on the case, chasing down more than 28,000 tips and investigating nearly 125,000 persons of interest. Yet no one was ever charged. The case remains officially unsolved. So who was the monster with 21 faces? Several theories have emerged over the years. Some believe organized crime was behind the attacks, possibly as an elaborate extortion scheme. Others point to someone with inside knowledge of the food industry, perhaps settling a grudge. And another theory suggests the crimes were designed to manipulate stock prices of the targeted companies. What makes this case so fascinating isn't just the mystery of the monster's identity. It's the question of their true motivation. They never collected any ransom money. No one was ever poisoned by the cyanide-laced candy. So what was this really about? Was it simply, as the monster claimed in their final letter, fun to lead a bad man's life? Or was there a deeper purpose we still don't understand? If you have your own theory about the monster with 21 faces, I'd love to hear it in the comments below. This is one of those cases where fresh perspectives might see something the original investigators missed. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content on history's greatest mysteries. And turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching.